guys, so you wanted to make some Bakewell tarts for our workshop. So I've been thinking about this, and I think the easiest thing to do to be able to cover pastry dishes as part of our Saturday workshops is that I do a short crust pastry little mini workshop straight to YouTube in advance, so that you can come on, make your pastry, and then it's ready to go for our workshop, so it's ready to use. So let me just tie my hair up and I will show you what you need to do to make a short crust pastry. Now this is a sweetened rich short crust pastry, so it's suitable for sweet dishes. So you're going to need 200 grams of plain flour. So I'm just going to pop that into the bowl. You can sieve that if you want, but I've already pre-done that. And you need 100 grams of cold, like fridge cold butter. So that's not margarine, you want proper 100% butter, and it's 100 grams, and I've chopped it into cubes to make it easier, and I'm going to pop that into the bowl with the flour. So you're using twice as much flour to butter. Now I'm going to use my hands to turn that into breadcrumbs. So I'm just going to pinch the butter and tease it and break it up into the flour until it's more combined, and it will look more like the top of an apple crumble. It'll look like breadcrumbs. So we'll do that. But I thought this would be helpful. This will help you with anything you want to make which needs a sweet short crust pastry, and it will mean that we can cover a bit more in the workshops that so far I've more or less avoided. Of course, if you want to do one of the Saturday workshops and you haven't got your pastry made, you can just buy it pre-rolled from a store. That's no problem at all. So it doesn't feel like I'm getting there at the moment, but it will, and then I'll show you what I've got in front of me. Bear with me. What we don't want to do is make it too hot and melt the butter. So everything we want to do is cold. And just so you've got it prepared and in front of you, the other ingredients we're going to use is 40 grams of icing sugar and 1 medium egg. So it's getting there. If I show you where I'm at the moment, it still looks more like flour with bits in it than breadcrumbs, so I'm going to keep going until it's more combined. So we could use this to make the lemon meringue pie base rather than a biscuit base. You could use it to make the pumpkin pie that we've got on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to make it for a quiche necessarily, because obviously a quiche is savoury and we're putting sugar into this. So you can have a more basic short crust pastry for savouries. But for Bakewell tarts, this is going to work nicely. Right, so that is looking much better. I've just got a few bits that are just a bit too big, so I'm just finding those and breaking them up a bit. But I'm quite happy with that. So I'll bring that to you so you can see, just get the light right, there we go, that it is more crumbs. If I clump it together like so, you will end up with a big clump, but it will easily break up into crumbs. So that's the right texture. You now want to get your 40 grams of icing sugar and add that, and then just get my knife. You can just use a normal knife. That's just a table knife, just to cut that icing sugar in. It just stops us from touching the flour and the butter too much more, because we want to keep it quite chilled. I know some people do have tools and equipment to do that process without using their hands, but not everyone has one, so we go with the basics. All right, so any little bits, again, you can sieve that if you so wish, but you don't have to. This is quite a quick pastry I'm making. So that's all in. And then the last thing to do is to put your egg into the mix. So I'm just going to crack that and add that. And again, I'm going to use my knife to combine that. And this should form a dough. If you find that your egg isn't enough moisture, and do bear with it because it does take a while, you can add a little bit of water, cold water, the colder the better, to your mix to bring it together. But do give it a moment, because as you can see, I'm mixing that in and it still looks very dry. So I want to really give it a chance to combine, because we don't want an overly sticky dough. We want it to be quite like a short, like shortbread. You want it to be kind of buttery and crumbly, just enough to hold it together, but you want it to melt in your mouth. So we don't want to add too much moisture, otherwise it will become a bit chewy. You can see this is starting to come together now. It's looking more defined. So I'm just going to mix that in a bit more. Metal is best to use. You can use a wooden spoon, but just whatever you have really, knocking around. But I'm doing all this with a knife, so I've got minimal washing up to do at the end of it. And I think we're about there, guys. So I'm just going to use my little finger just to scrape off the dough from the knife. And I can show you that that's almost come together as a ball. And I can just use my hands just to give that a light press to bring that into a ball of dough. And that is perfect. What you need to do now with that is you need to wrap it in some cling film and pop it in the fridge for half an hour. You can leave it for longer, but if it's really, really chilled, you might just need to give it a few minutes out of the fridge before you use it again, just so that you can roll it out. But I don't know if you can see this, but I'm doing it more this way. I'm just going to it's wrapped in the cling film, but I'm just going to press it down just to give it a bigger surface area so that it chills down a bit faster. If it's a ball, then you've obviously not got as much surface area, so it will take longer. So that is my short crust pastry, and I'm going to put that in the fridge, and you'll need to put that in the fridge for at least half an hour before you use it. So that is my quick how-to on short crust pastry for sweet dishes, and I will see you on the workshop on for Bakewell tarts. Okay guys, bye!